Culturally Clueless.
All right. Well. There is a lot that's been happening. Some stuff we can talk about, and some definitely would make me go for 2 hours. And I know you guys ain't here for that. And probably I'm not here for that either. Now, Syria, some developments, like SDF prisons, controlled prisons. Some ISIS members ran out. It was very difficult to control it. There was no safety guaranteed. And this has been going on for quite some time. Even the UN said so. The riots, the fights inside did not make it easy for the SDF to secure the prison. So these ISIS fighters fled. Some of them were flown out by the US, and others will. And the SDF is not needed anymore, according to the US. They don't need the Kurdish rebel troops anymore. You make of it what you will. With that said, you guys, welcome to another episode of Culturally Clueless, and salam alaikum.
People talking loud, everybody's got a take. Scrolling through the headlines, don't know what's real or fake. Late night conversations, what's the truth we chase? World keeps changing pace, but we're all in the race.
I know you guys, I always been told I make too much noise, especially by the people who are listening and the streaming. So I am truly sorry, y'all. Most of it is because the mic is too close, because it has to be close. But then again, I have jewelry on. Maybe I shouldn't, but I just do. And another reason is my laptop makes too much noise, I guess. Okay, me scrolling up and down and pressing buttons and checking, making sure that everything is still recording. It's a one-man show. Okay, when I record, it's a one-man show. Okay, the other stuff, shout out to whoever is involved. You guys, Naomi, Mo, the third person that doesn't want to be named, and the fourth person that goes by the name of Lils, aka Lily. So now we shouted out a few people, and we can get started with this episode. You guys, I hope you're doing great. Hope your week was amazing, as much as can be, of course, if we leave all the bad things aside. Now, I want to start this episode with a very special message from an American citizen to the Iranian government. Let's have a listen.
This is a message for Iranian Ayatollah Khamenei and the Iranian people. We Americans are starving in the streets. 60 to 70,000 Americans are homeless. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our trains are crashing, our planes are falling out of the sky, and our power grid is breaking down with the smallest of weather storms. We need your help. If you believe...
I mean, you guys, why not, right? Like, why not? I thought it was a great idea. Let's listen to some more of what the guy has to say.
If you believe in basic human dignity, you will help the American people now when we need you most. We now see that the Trump administration has sicked its thugs on the streets to unalive American citizens who are expressing their basic First Amendment rights. I cannot think of a more unconscionable act, and it is why we Americans are calling on you to free the American people from the corrupt regime. In times like these, I know we can count on the free people of the world to save...
OMG. Like, when I saw this video, I really had to laugh, but I thought, you know what? It's about time, because how is everybody apparently and allegedly just screaming for help to America, but to no other country? Actually, you know what? I've never heard anyone in Europe say they wanted our help. They just go and take what they want. They don't even claim that somebody needed their help. So I thought this guy was great, but I wanna play a little bit more.
To save those who need it most. We Americans are in dire need of support, and action must be taken with no delay whatsoever. Okay, just for legal purposes, that was totally a joke. I don't support Iran overthrowing the U.S. government, right? FBI, Kashmir, please do not come after me. That was a joke. But anyways, what hypocrisy, right?
Yes, absolutely. It is absolutely mayhem in the U.S. streets and so many different, states, and so many different, how do I say, cities and towns. These how do I call them best? I don't even know what to call them. These abductors, these violent people, this new age Ness. I don't know what to call them. Do you guys have a name for them? Anyways, they're in the streets and they're causing mayhem. And this guy has every right to say what he's saying. He's not lying. He's not lying. And of course, this is something that would bring us to our next topic, which is indeed the ICE agents, right? So we talked about it. 2026 has just started. We're just a month in, and three people have been taken out by these government funded and employed criminals. Okay, I said it. There you have it. I just said it. This is a video somebody had sent to me who also watches the podcast. Shout out to you. I'm not sure if I can say your name or not. Sometimes people do send me videos and I do use them, and I really, really do appreciate it because it's just makes my job a little bit easier, and I just love the engagement. So let's check out what Al Jazeera had to report on ICE.
In just the past month, ICE agents have shot and killed 3 people: Keith Porter, Renee Good, and Alex Pretty. In just the first year of Donald Trump's second term, the number of ICE agents has risen by 120%. On January 3rd,
Three people. Keith Porter, we talked about him last week. He was taken out on December 31st. 43-year-old father. 43, man. So much older than me. I don't know what to say. It's just nuts. Okay, then we have Renee Good and of course Alex Pretty. There is a lot of protests. They have been going on for the longest, but obviously not covered by legacy media. Let's check out some more of this report.
January 3rd, Homeland Security announced that after receiving more than 220,000 applications, they hired 12,000 new officers and agents in around 4 months. New ICE deportation officers now complete a much shorter training program, 47 days instead of 5 months. According to an internal document about hiring plans reviewed by the Washington Post, ICE are targeting people who are patriotic and conservative-leaning.
And you guys, it's not even a joke anymore. 47 days of training. That's all these ICE agents have to absorb, right? 47 days. What are you going to learn in 47 days? And you have people applying like crazy because the bonuses are all crazy. 50K, and they employ 12,000 people. And this is one thing, right, that I have to say, as much as we talk about geopolitics, as much as we talk about current event and social issues and all kind of issues, one thing that is definitely for certain, when it's time for business, morals stay locked somewhere in the basement, deep, deep down in the basement, because when it comes to business, when it comes to any of this stuff here, morals are no priority. People need to make money, people want to make money, and people want to be as much as possible, especially these days, in the good books of the powerful. That's all I can say. It's insane how they talk about how the US was invaded by criminals, and that's why they need ICE. They forgot what they have done to the indigenous people. Come and invade. They forgot what they're doing in so many places to the indigenous people of the places, you know? And this is another topic we'll get to while we discuss indigeneity, while we have fights over identity and who's who and who's what and where who's belongs to what. They are doing the worst to us. ICE exists since 2003, which is absolutely insane. But the ICE we know today is nothing like the ICE before. I've never heard about of ICE before. But then again, I do not live in the US. I never heard of ICE before. And what is very scary is that ICE is now international, right? ICE, the guys that have 47-day training and that apply because of these big bonuses, and when they're even off duty, they just like shoot people. They are going international to protect some type of like what American officials at the Olympics or whatever. But actually remember what it was that's going to go down in Italy, and they're going to be there. Insane, y'all. And of course, where's ICE, the so-called president of the US is not far away. And he had a lot to say. And this time he was talking about Europe. Let's check this out.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody. And say,
he's talking about friends went to Europe and it's not looking good. But bruh, like, you forgot your own place, that you just like, I don't know, the homelessness in your country, the ICE criminals in the streets that are what supposedly getting rid of all the criminal and illegal immigrants, but they like deporting people with a citizenship, with a legal citizenship. They are deporting little children. That's who you call illegal immigrants? That's what you call criminal kids? I mean, I heard that before. Sounds like something your ally has been doing for the past 75 years. 76 years. No, what is it? 76 years already? Guys. Oh my gosh. It is. No, 78. Oh my gosh. Math is not mathing, or my brain is not braining. Whichever way it is, 78 years, you guys. Your number one ally, that you have your own people in your own country that you're supposed to rule and lead, starving, not having necessities, maybe the right healthcare, the right education, because your number one ally needs that money. Anywho, let's listen to some more of his nonsense.
And say, I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction.
As I said, it's so interesting how Europe changed, but he doesn't want to say nothing. I think he said enough when you tried to come for Greenland, and you're still coming for Greenland and Europe, of course, because they are unfortunately tied to the dollar hardcore, and they're not looking left, they're not looking right to another, you know. And Europe is obviously still depending on your military defense. I think you can say whatever you want about Europe at this present time. Yeah, present time. They're gonna complain, but yeah, what can they say? What can they say? And then there is more. And of course, we have also more of Nicki Minaj, because since she's gone mega, she's going to be a regular on these weird mega events or Trump events. So Trump has this thing going on where he has this government funded investment children account. So what it is the government gives alleged children who are born between, oh my goodness, 2025 and 2028, something like that, I believe, $1,000. And this will be put in an account and will be invested in stocks, right? So the parents of the kids can add money to it, donations from any charity, family members, however, right? You can basically top up that money and it will stay in there in the account, and the parents get to basically look over the money and over the account, and basically babysit the account until the child is 18 years old. It would sound good because it is giving the children when they're 18 a good head start if the investment go right. But when it comes from these kind of people, I don't know if there is not a different scheme to it. What do you guys think? Could there be more to it? But anywho, let's listen to Trump, how he was celebrating his event, celebrating himself, and Nicki and Mr. Wonderful, of course.
Nicki has been an unbelievable supporter. She gets almost as much as Mr. Wonderful over here. He's been another one. It's been so good. But I'd like to ask you to come up, Nicki. Come on up. Come on. She's been such a great supporter, and a great supporter of Trump accounts. And I said, I'm going to let my nails grow because I love those nails. I'm going to let those nails grow.
So Mr. Wonderful comes on stage, and Mr. Wonderful, I was wondering myself, who the hell is Mr. Wonderful? What kind of a, Kevin O'Leary, big investor, Shark Tank. If you watch Shark Tank, you might have seen him. I have no interest in Shark Tank, so I had no idea who Mr. Wonderful is. They called him Mr. Wonderful. He was there. There was some other, obviously, government officials there. There were other bankers and investors and investment people, like finance people there, of course, at such an event. And the last one, his star of the day, Nicki Minaj. But before we get to Nicki, let's check out some more of what the orange agent had to say. Is it me, or does he sound like he's dying when he speaks? Like he's completely like done.
Nails grow. She's so good. She's been MAGA. What can I say? She's been with us all the way, right, Alex? She's been with us all the way, and just want to thank her. And it wasn't so easy. For you, it was easier, right? You want to come up? You want to come up? Mr. Wonderful, come on up here. You've been terrific. Come on up.
Yes, and here is Nicki, right? Nicki, who comes on stage because he asked her to, same way like he asked Mr. Wonderful to come on stage. And I don't know how to say it better or nicer. It just sounds stupid like last time. I don't know what to say, but what I will say, she can do it better than me. Let's listen to Nicki.
Hello. Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more.
I don't know what to say, you guys. I don't know what to say. She's doing good though. She's keeping up the facade or whatever it is. I'm really curious to know when she releases her announced album, apparently, allegedly in March or whenever. I'm really interested. Who's gonna buy it? A lot of people, and I see this in my comments, the diehard Nicki fans say they don't care what she believes in. They will always support her. Bro, you lost the plot. That's for that. And thank God we have a freedom of expression, so-called freedom of expression, at least when it comes to these kind of things. So y'all can do whatever you want, believe whoever you want, trust whoever you want, follow whoever you want. But a little bit of critical thinking at some point is recommendable. Finally, and the legacy media is eating this up, you guys. The last remains of the last body of the Israeli war prisoners that were held in Gaza was finally discovered and found. The remains were picked up by the IDF. Let's check out the report.
Some breaking news to tell you about now. And the Israeli military is reporting that it has retrieved the remains of the last captive being held in Gaza. This, of course, was the condition for Israel to reopen the Rafah crossing. It said the Rafah crossing with Egypt. Israel had said that the crossing would open under its full oversight and for the movement of people when the remains of the last captive to be held in Gaza is retrieved.
Yes, so Hamas gave the coordinates and the IDF picked the remains up. And this was like the condition to move on to the next phase and to also reopen the Rafah crossing. A lot of people in Gaza have been waiting for the Rafah crossing to open because they are exhausted. And this is what these people were banking on. People need medical treatment. They are starving. They have held it down for a very long time, but a lot of people want to leave because they simply can't deal anymore. And we can even blame them as much as we don't want them to leave, but we cannot blame them. Once the Rafah crossing opens, we talked about it in a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I don't remember, you guys, but we talked about it and we did say that we showed some people how they were talking about that they can't wait anymore because of this hell. Okay, let's check out some more of this report.
In Gaza is retrieved. Hamas had given the coordinates of where this captive was believed to be buried to the Israeli military, and the Israeli military now announcing that they have found the remains of this captive. Let's bring in Hind al-Khudari, who's in Gaza City. Hind, so the Israeli military announcing this now just minutes ago. What more are you hearing there?
Well, not everyone in Gaza knows the news yet, but indeed, this is a very important.
You know what the funny part of all of this is? I just wonder, do the people, when they want to leave and go to Egypt, do they have to pay again all these crazy money? It was so many different fees that were thrown on the people of Gaza when in 2023 they had to pay to leave. Imagine you're being genocided and you're being wanted out of your own land, but now on top of it, you have to pay for it. Oh my God. That's why everything is a business, y'all. Everything is about money, nothing else. It's a very interesting, very false statement that was made here. Lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. All of this, of course, only legacy media eats up. We know about the settler violence. Even the European officials, the American officials, basically pretty much condemned it. But are they really doing something about it? Not really. Now, the boss of all bosses was interviewed by, I believe it was Vox. I got the clip obviously from Anna and her gang, like the TRT, and let's have this.
Settler violence in the West Bank continues to rise, and that does threaten some regional stability. How are you addressing that?
Well, first of all, I think it's much bloated. You know, when they're talking about it, they're talking about a handful of kids. We actually located. It's about 70 kids. They're not from the West Bank. They're actually come from teenagers who come from broken homes, and they do things like chopping the olive trees, and sometimes they try to burn a home. I can't accept that. That's vigilantism. I'm taking that out.
Teenagers that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is referring to, effectively terrorists, are usually accompanied by their terrorists.
You guys, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. The guy is literally lying because there's too much footage coming through, my bro. And also from a lot of, like, what is this guy called, Andre 10 or something? He's like an Israeli, like a Polish Israeli who lives there. I think he's a journalist, but he spends a lot of time in the West Bank doing, like, you know, basically helping with some other volunteers and activists to secure some of the Palestinians, at least, right? And the settler violence, and also, like, speaking to people in the West Bank, there is always, what they do every night is wait if the IDF is coming to occupy their home, right? To execute violence, to arrest somebody. However, this has been going on even recently. In the past few days, 70 houses have been demolished in the West Bank, and this is a normal thing over there. Okay, so this guy's talking about coming from broken homes. It's 70 kids. He can overlook that. Dude, There is too many videos out there. There's too much real time. Even legacy media has been reporting on this way before October 2023, right? There is breaking the silence. There's so many soldiers, former IDF soldiers, who are speaking up and telling what they had to do and what they experienced. It's just nuts how you think after all of this, you can get away with lying. But let's have a listen to Anna. Let her say it so I don't have to.
Terrorist parents. So the idea that they're just, wild, unruly teenagers from broken homes is laughable to say the least. But that whole statement you heard from Netanyahu, bald-faced lie. And he claimed during this interview with Fox's Brett Baier that, just a few dozen rowdy teens are responsible for all the terror, all the damage, all the land theft, all the home theft that's been carried out by Israelis in the West Bank. All that's
very sad story. UNRWA came to an end. They were banned about 2 years ago. 2 years ago. We're staying in the West Bank and we're moving to Quds, Jerusalem. Check out this report here.
Okay, another story we are following today. Israel has begun tearing down the United Nations Relief and Works Agency headquarters in East Jerusalem. The humanitarian organization has provided aid to Palestinians for over 75 years. In a statement on Tuesday, UNRWA described IDF troops forcibly entering their compound, confiscating equipment and moving in bulldozers. Local news outlets report that the
organization UNRWA was very crucial to the Palestinians. It was working in the Middle East and I guess still is in other places, to help with Palestinians primarily, paperwork or whatever essential stuff they have to get done. You know what I mean? And they banned them because, as you heard here clearly, there was allegedly, some of the UNRWA members were part of Hamas. Let's listen to some more.
That the Netanyahu government is planning to build some 1,400 housing units at the site. Israel banned the group from operating in the country around 2 years ago, alleging that some UNRWA members were connected to the October 7 terrorist attack. Hardline cabinet member Itamar Ben-Gvir was on scene this week overseeing the demolition.
Prime Minister, we promised and we kept our promise. UNRWA is getting out of here. UNRWA out, and this is a great day for everyone who loves Jerusalem and who loves Israel.
One of the most evil characters, Ben-Gvir is eating this up. He is definitely getting off on watching over the demolition of the UNRWA compound, how everything is being torn down of a organization that was doing human rights work for 76, 75 years before they were banned by the blue state. Absolutely insane. He is so happy and he's so proud how now all the murderers and the rapists are going to get punished, and this is what happens to them. Oh my God. I swear this is the same guy who was celebrating and protesting, actually protesting when a soldier who brutally raped a Palestinian man with different devices and who was part of a group who actually did that, right? So much so where he was very much internally injured, and eventually, after even surviving this, he died. I swear this is the same guy who was protesting against the arrest of these soldiers. I swear this is the same guy who wants the execution for Palestine. It's insane. It's insane how these people think. He's talking about victimizing himself, of course, because that's what they do best. How he was arrested, how he was attacked. Ooh, really? Every time, you guys, when we see chocolate, especially in an advert or even in a shop, the packaging looks right, most of the time at least, and there's so many varieties of chocolate. It's unbelievable, all kind of, from super, milk chocolate to super dark chocolate and healthy. And nuts and all kind of different things. And most people don't even ask and wonder, where does chocolate come from and how is it even made? We talked on this episode a couple of times about the misery of the children that they have to go through in Africa, in Ghana, for example, when actually being on the field looking for that cocoa to make the chocolate that we cannot live without. And it's nothing to us to just walk in a shop, spend a couple of, coins on a chocolate and just sit there and eat it without even spending one thought on the child, on the 5-year-old child, a 7-year-old child that is not going to school, rather than working with chemicals and working with machetes to pick out the cocoa. Let's listen to this, you guys.
Switzerland makes the world's best milk chocolate. Belgium makes the best filled chocolate. But neither country grows cocoa. Not a single commercial farm. Because 70% of the world's cocoa comes from Africa, cut by children who've never tasted chocolate in their lives. Dawn to dusk. Clear brush, spray chemicals with no masks, lift sacks heavier than their bodies.
Yes, this made headlines in 2001, and they wanted to end child labor for this in 2005. But guess what? 21 years later, and we're still here. The children are still doing the same work. The children are actually also taking the machetes to school sometimes, because right after school, they have to go back to the fields and continue working for that $1 to support their family, to have, the minimum of food on the table. It's really shameful how these big companies are actually watching this and working with this. Let's watch some more.
In 2001, the story hit headlines and the chocolate industry panicked at the bad PR. They pledged to end child labor in cocoa by 2005. It's 2025. An estimated 1.5 million children still work in West African cocoa. Hershey's sale last year, $11 billion. Mars, $45 billion. The supply chain knows, the world knows, and yet the fields are still full of children.
And I'll say it again, the struggles are connected. The struggles are connected. So as hard as it is to boycott things, because we can't boycott on everything, I get that, right? They own too much. But I'll say this. Some of the companies we definitely need to look into and we need to boycott. And you know what? With this whole boycott movement, it works great if we all actually agree on the same products and do that, instead of 3 people boycott this product, 200 people that product, 300 people over there this product. You know what I mean? Like, we need to have a united front when it comes to boycotting. Can you do without chocolate? Let me know. You got to give that to the people. When the internet sees something that they can twist into something ugly and crazy, they go for it. This whole cancel culture society is really, really annoying. So Huda Beauty is one of the latest victims of this. Let's watch some of what she had to say.
People out there angry with me because they think I support the regime of Iran, or I am supporting anything that is hurting Iranian people. That's just wild. I can't believe anybody would think that I would support that. I could understand how some things might have been misconstrued, and for that, like that, I never want that. And I really apologize if that was the case. But I also want people to know I'm not going to go on here saying, yes, let's create regime change in a country where I have had that situation happen in my country, and it still hurts. When I visited Iraq a couple years ago, it hurt to see what's happened in my country. I wish I had a platform in those days. I wish. That's the only thing I always wish I had a platform in those days.
So for those who live still behind the moon, under some very big rock, and who don't know that Huda Beauty is indeed a skincare and makeup mogul. Her and her sisters are from Iraq, I think based in the UAE. But they are indeed running their own business. And recently, I think last year, they were able to buy their own business back from basically buy the investors out. And now it's absolutely owned by them, which is great and amazing. Huda Beauty was somebody who was absolutely 10 toes down when the genocide in Gaza started, and she was therefore kicked out of Sephora and experienced, of course, a lot of other attacks. And recently she made a statement about Iran, and a lot of people twisted it into her being pro the regime. Well, it's very difficult, you guys. It's very, very, very difficult. The girl actually said she doesn't know enough, but you guys still managed to twist what she said into something completely insane and crazy, because she's not saying anything different from many, many, many of us. Let's listen to some more of this video that she made after this whole hype.
And I can't really say too much about Iran. I'm not going to continue saying things about Iran, because this is a situation that I think a lot of people need to be very careful of. And I really do hope the best happens for the people there. You know, the U.S. coming in to help any Middle Eastern or Muslim country has never been a good situation for any of us. I had, you know, many family members go through some tough things. I had some family members die in terrible ways when America came and invaded Iraq. And I guess that's the thing that I really worry about right now, is if America has an interest to go into Iran.
And I'll say it again, you guys, you're just absolutely annoying with this whole cancel thing. Who are you to cancel anyone? Who are you to cancel anyone? Okay, what the Iranian regime does, and we always say it, we always have to put a disclaimer out before you cry, baby, start crying like crazy. What the Iranian government does, the current Iranian government, right? Nobody in their right mind would think it's okay. And nobody in their right mind would feel like supporting them, you know, executing people because they said what they think, or they criticized the government or anything. Where you guys, and what you guys fail to understand is, just because I say, or Huda or anyone, you know what, we don't want no American intervention, and we don't think that this weirdo of Crown Prince should be, how he calls it, the bridge in this transition or whatever, or he's not the destination, he's the bridge. Nobody wants this guy there, because we know where this is going. And what Huda is basically saying is that she witnessed it because her country, Iraq, was also invaded falsely because they were accused of nuclear weapons and whatnot. And the aftermath, although it happened so long ago, the aftermath is still very, very visible and very, very there. And she wouldn't want that for another country. If this is wrong, you guys, if this is something wrong, bruh. And this is why I say, like, you guys are too emotional. And you know what? I understand that. I totally get it. Drop your emotions for a second and listen to what you really said. Just because you didn't like it, or you didn't hear it right, it doesn't make it any different.
Who is going to pay the price of this regime change? You know, I think we all want the best for every country. We all want the best for people. We don't want to see people oppressed. We don't want to see people living in really tough situations where they're embargoed. It's tough. I mean, I can't pretend like I understand that situation, but I hate hearing about it, and I feel for people when I hear about it. But regime change by the hand of America is a scary thing. That scares me. I don't know. You know, I have Afghani friends. I have Libyan friends. I don't know if anybody is feeling grateful to America for what they did.
Before criticizing somebody or going at somebody like being cutthroat, how about you ask, what did you actually mean? How was it meant? Before you just read into it and analyze it and put so much into it that wasn't there to begin with. It's, again, the same thing. Nobody in their right mind is on the current regime when they are against human rights and torture people and execute people. But what's worse is having an invasion from the West and taking over completely. People are entitled to have an opinion and a stance, especially when they come from a country that has already experienced that. And the aftermath is so bad. You feel it, you hear it, you see it. Yes, she can speak on this. When I started putting together this episode, I thought I was going to talk a lot about Africa. And for some reason, it's actually not that much. Okay, but something's going down in the Sahel region, right? Something is going down in Burkina Faso with our favorite president at the moment, at least, Ibrahim Traore, who has survived too many assassination attempts. So much so where he had to really clean out house, and it's very difficult because a lot of these people are actually close to him. But yes, there was a coup in these countries, in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, right? And these three came together as Sahel states, and there is a lot of investment going on in Africa, as we know, from China. America is investing someplace because Angola still doesn't understand, but not only Angola, let's say Ghana as well, and a couple of others. What can I say? The West is still obviously trying to maintain their stand in Africa, but Russia and China have been there as well. And Russia and the Sahel Alliance are currently working on something interesting. Let's check it out.
Vladimir Putin is moving deeper into the Sahel, this time not with troops or mercenaries. For the first time ever, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger are planning a shared communications satellite, and Russia says it is ready to build it. Reports say the project would serve the alliance of Sahel states, linking Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger through a single shared...
It's insane how the legacy media never cares about these things, never cares about these kind of things. When you talk about Russia, or when you hear the legacy media speak on Russia, it's always how bad it is and how, you know, we need to sanction it, we need to stop Russia and all of these things, but we never talk about these kind of things. And I will say this, I am very, very observant when it comes to these deals that African countries strike with Russia or China, especially when it comes to infrastructure. We're going to have a thing later that we're going to talk about also in Africa. And I can say this, if whoever owns your infrastructure, they own you. And I don't know about how it is in this case here. I hope it sounds like it's going to be a joint venture. I really hope so for the Sahel Alliance. Let's listen to some more of this.
Shared platform. Analysts say this is a strategic upgrade. It would expand broadband and mobile connectivity. It would enable secure, encrypted communications for governments and armed forces. And through remote sensing, it would support border monitoring, surveillance. The satellite push comes as the alliance is rebuilding its entire security architecture. Well, analysts say a dedicated satellite would give the Sahel states a sharper eye on threats, faster response times against
terror. You guys, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's actually amazing when you think of it. It's actually absolutely amazing, and I hope really that it works out. So surveillance, it's much easier, and they're kind of like coming up, you know, and keeping up with today's or getting close to today's technology. What do you guys think? Is it a good move to do this in cooperation with Russia? And of course, we're staying in Africa because Rwanda is suing the UK. Did you guys know that Rwanda is suing the UK? There was a plan a while ago where the UK was supposed to deport their refugees to Rwanda, which was absolutely crazy. Mind you, 60% of the people living in Rwanda do not even have water and electricity, yet you want to deport the migrants coming from war zones and all kind of like different places to Rwanda. Let's listen to this, you guys.
Also, Rwanda's suing the UK over London's stalling over payments for a controversial agreement between Kigali and the former British government, which would have seen the African nation take in migrants deported from the United Kingdom. Now, current British leader Keir Starmer scrapped that deal when he took over in 2024. About 276 million euros have already been handed over to Kigali, and a further 57 million plus had been due to be paid in April. The UK says that it will fight Rwanda's legal challenge for the cash.
Yes, this was a plan, and then it was like a lot of uproar from human rights organizations. We talked about it a long time ago here as well, where these human rights organizations literally stopped a plane from taking off with refugees that were supposed to be taken to Rwanda. They built like different compounds there, basically homes for the people, and as you heard here, it is a lot of money is involved. 276 million euros were already transferred, 57 is missing, and Rwanda wants their money. Now, after the deal with the UK fell through because of the human rights organizations, and then when Keir Starmer came, he just like basically, froze this. Germany wanted to take over this deal and was like, you know what, this might be a good idea for us. We could actually do with it, especially because these homes are built. They have basketball courts. So basically they tried to even kind of pretty it up a little bit. You know how they do in these refugee camps. They did this after the Second World War as well, when I don't know if it was the UN back then or whoever came to see, and they just made everything look good and renovated the places, and put table tennis up and all kind of different stuff. It's basically what they're doing here. Don't fall for it. Oh my God, it's some luxury type thing. No, it's not. But the deal with Germany fell through, and Rwanda is saying, bro, we still want our money. Nah, we started with the UK. Germany, yeah, we were in talks, but really and truly the deal was with the United Kingdom, and we're not gonna let it go. Let's see what is going to happen. And I'm just wondering which court is dealing with it. What is the judge like? Where is he from? Is he biased? Is he from the West? Is he from Africa? Are there multiple judges? Is there like a jury? How is such a court look like when a global South country that is on the poverty side sues a country like the UK that honestly needs to do some real cleaning at home instead of investing into wars? I got more when it comes to Africa. So this girl, I came across this video and I just loved how she explained it. So let's have a listen.
Looks like Gambia's about to buy its own seawater back for the next 30 years. So a Saudi firm, ACWA Power, just locked in Africa's first major desalination project. Desalination means turning seawater into drinking water using tech that's expensive to build, but crucial when rivers run dry. So on the surface, this looks like progress, right? Water is scarce. Over 40% of Gambians don't have clean drinking water. Rivers are salty. Climate change is biting. But what looks like aid on the surface is really a commercial deal, right? Once the pipes go in, the bills go up. ACWA's boss said it straight, right? He weren't playing around. He said, we build it, we own it, we sell the water back. They're putting
If you guys thought this wasn't a thing where these countries with more money exploit countries in 2026, basically in the 2000s, you are very, very much mistaken, and you must have been in some crazy fairy tale over the past years, because this is a real thing. This does happen. This is not just in Gambia, but this is a clear example of this whole thing. So you come there with your technology. You don't want to work with me. You want to take my stuff. You want to clean it, and you make it very interesting to me, because we do need clean water, to the point where I don't have a choice but take your deal. and then now you make me pay for it. So let's listen to her a little bit more.
They're pulling in funding from World Bank, European banks, France, Spain, Italy, all under one condition. The deal has to be bankable. Let me translate that, right? Gambia must guarantee payments in dollars for decades. Default's not the risk here. Delay is. If they're late on payments, the whole thing collapses, right? And I can't believe I'm saying this about yet another deal, right? In 2026 as well. But whoever owns your infrastructure owns your options. And once water becomes a monthly bill, power changes hands. Now, here's what I know is on everybody's lips, right? Why didn't Gambia just build it themselves? But the truth is,
you guys, this is a crazy deal. It sounds like a crazy deal. Like, there's only one party here, one side benefiting really, right? And that's the money side, right? Because they're coming, they're doing work, yeah. But now they don't just do the work and get paid. They do the work and say, no, we own that and we're going to sell it back to you. I wonder why there was no joint adventure. And as I said, she explained it very, very well. And what made me wonder even more, why is this deal taking place in US dollars? I swear I've been hearing for the longest that Saudi Arabia is part of BRICS and they have their own currencies going on. And didn't Saudi Arabia just recently not renew the contract to pay oil and stuff in dollars? Or is this like project to project based? So I'm really, truly wondering, why did they make this deal in US dollars? Last week, we talked about the Afcon. We talked how crazy it is, what went down, all the drama, all the accusations, all the he said, she said, all this racist stuff towards certain countries, the instigation, whether it's from Algeria or anyone else. There was so much going on. A lot was debunked, but a lot is still floating around. And one thing that it brought up is, once again, the conversation that seems to never be ending. Are North Africans Africans? I mean, it's in the word North African, right? And I understand a lot of people don't like it, whether on the North African side or on the East, West, or South side of Africa. But guess what? The Amazigh people, who have been indigenous to the continent for over 20,000 years, have been Arabized, like many other places too, like the Levant area, for example. We have been Arabized. If you want to call us Afro-Arabs, if you want to call us I don't know what, but we as Amazigh people, we belong to the continent. And yes, for example, me, I look extremely pale. And many of my North African people do look extremely pale, and we have from even much lighter than me with red hair, blonde hair, and blue eyes to super dark skin. And while we still having this debate about if North Africans want to be African or if the others on Africa, North, East, West, South, want North Africans to be Africans or not, the exploitation is ongoing. This division is on purpose, you guys. And there is only one side that is benefiting off of that. And that is definitely not the African side. Okay. So while we have all of these identity crises going on, whether it's in Morocco, like in the whole of North Africa, Sudan, wherever, even like in other African countries, when I speak to people and they tell me there's like problems with, because there's like ethnicity issues because of different tribes or whatever. You guys, well, we all have this identity crisis, and you guys decide to make this a whole thing to debate and, and basically, kind of like down each other. Business is still going. Exploitation is still happening. People are still suffering. So you know what? I kindly and respectfully pass. So Morocco and Senegal met after I think it was one day after the final. And let's listen to what happened.
Countries' leaders met in Rabat on Monday to show that there were no hard feelings, at least at the diplomatic level. Clem Vella with more.
It's the first meeting between the Senegalese and Moroccan authorities since the Afcon final. On Monday, Senegalese Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko visited Rabat to strengthen bilateral ties between the two countries. While the main objective of this meeting was to sign 17 cooperation agreements in the fields of agriculture, higher education, or even the...
When I said Morocco and Senegal met, maybe I should have said government officials. They said there will be no changes, no hard feelings. It is a game, it's soccer, it's football, whatever you may want to call it, right? And unfortunately, there's a lot that went down, right? From people being, getting violent, getting aggressive, to restaurants destroyed, and so on and so forth, whether it's Senegalese restaurants in Morocco or Moroccan restaurants in Senegal. It's absolutely insane and crazy because, as I just said, these people are doing business. It's just a different day. Business continues. And that's what they basically said. So let's listen to some more.
Or even the digital economy, it was impossible to not mention the tournament's chaotic match between the Teranga Lions and the Atlas Lions.
This visit comes at an emotionally charged time due to sports, regrettable excesses, and images that are sometimes painful for two deeply connected peoples. It is meant to assert, to reaffirm that sport did not divide us.
Several incidents marred the Afcon final on January 18th. Just after a goal was disallowed for Senegal, a penalty was...
So despite all these fines for the players on both sides in the final game, Morocco and Senegal, and some disqualifications for a couple of games, yes, there's a lot of money that these countries have to cough up now because of this whole crazy behavior and whatnot, whether it's the towels, whether it's walking off the pitch or whatever it was, right? Rightfully so. But you people, one thing, whatever happens on the pitch should stay on the pitch. You guys took it way too far. And I'll say this again, while we're debating whether North Africans want to be African or whether East, West, or South Africa wants North Africans to be African, the powerful and the greedy are continuing business like nothing happens. They want us to be distracted. They want us to be divided, but y'all don't see it.
A penalty was awarded to the host country at the end of regulation time after consultation with the video referee. This decision led to some of the Senegalese players to leave the pitch before Sadio Mane asked them to return. Moroccan ball boys were also filmed attempting to steal goalkeeper Edouard Mendy's towels, prompting outrage from his replacement. Tensions spread to the stands, where supporters of the Teranga Lions attempted to invade the pitch for nearly...
You guys. I'm coming to my last bit of this episode. Once upon a time in 1969, in the blue state, there was a female prime minister by the name of Golda Meir. Right? 1969 till 1974, she was the prime minister of the illegal blue state. And she gave an interview in 1970, and that's what she said.
I mean, when were Palestinians born? What was all this area before the First World War? When Britain got the mandate over Palestine, what was Palestine then? Palestine was then the area between the Mediterranean and the Iraqi border.
And if you guys think that she retracted this, no, she didn't. No, she did not. She did not retract this one bit, okay? She is a staunch, or was a staunch Zionist, because she died due to cancer in 1978, 4 years after she finished her, prime ministry, whatever you want to call it. Before 1948, the term Palestine was legal under British rule. So yes, she said she was a Palestinian with a Palestinian passport. She acknowledged historical facts. That does not make her not be a staunch blue state supporter. That did not, make her stand on the right side of history. Because after 1948, everything changed. She became a zombie. And she stood with the Zionist entity till her very last breath. And one very interesting quote, apart from this one here that people make, we're going to get to in 2 minutes. Let's watch some a little bit more now.
Border.
You say there's no such thing
as East and West Bank? No. East and West Bank was Palestine. I'm a Palestinian. From 21 until 48, I carried a Palestinian passport. There was no such thing in this area as Jews and Arabs and Palestinians. There were Jews and Arabs.
You guys, the second famous quote of her is something that she said in a press conference in 1969 while she was prime minister of the illegal blue state. She said, "We can forgive the Arabs for killing our children, but we will never forgive them for making us kill their children." Oh my God. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. The way this was twisted is pro level. This is the best gaslight I've ever heard. And for those people who never saw this clip or never knew that this is what Golda Meir said, by the way, she was originally Ukrainian. Think about it. This is really if you didn't know, or if somebody asks you what gaslighting is and you don't know how to explain it, use this. We can forgive them for killing our children, but we will never forgive them for making us kill their children. I just want to run. At this point, I just want to run. I don't know where I'm running, but I just want to run. It's insane, y'all. It's really insane. But with that said, you guys, that's all I have today. That's literally all I have today. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. See you guys next week. Be blessed and informed, and make sure to stay beautiful, and take care. Bye-bye and peace out.
Culturally clueless, but I'm trying